round of 32 at the World Cup. Spain has just defeated Austria 3-0 on a pair of goals by Mikel Oyarzabal, both assisted by Marc Cucurella. Here is their second connection in the 89th minute.
Cucurella's ball in, and Oyarzabal is there again. The flag has stayed down, and Spain coast into the round of 16.
Ian Dark with the call on Fox, and in the round of 16, they will face either Portugal or Croatia. They will meet at 7 p.m. Eastern this evening in Toronto. The NBA, former Chicago Bulls guard Anthony Simons has agreed to a 2-year, $12 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. In Major League Baseball, the Cincinnati Reds have just completed a 7-2 victory at Milwaukee. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
Broadcasting live from the KGSO studios in West Wichita.
I feel more informed when I listen.
This is The Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Happy Thursday, Wichita. 4th of July, we are just about there, ready for the weekend. And here in the Seven Clans First Council Casino Hotel and Resort Studios, it is the Press Box. Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka on 1410 93.9 KGSO, the SC Wichita app, KGSO.com, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Coming at you live, 522-1410 on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. Folks, I encourage you to call the show because tomorrow is going to be a best-of show, kind of with a holiday. We will not be in person doing a live show, but of course you'll still hear our voices on the airwaves from 4 to 6, so don't you worry. But take advantage. Yes, 522-1410. What's on your mind in the sports world? What's on my mind? Maybe a little World Cup. I'm hearing, look, that red card has a lot of people stirred up from last night, and that could sort of spoil the party against Belgium coming up on July 6th. We'll also talk a little bit about Joey Chestnuts and the Nathan's Hot Dog eating contest. I'm hearing that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are getting married tomorrow at MSG. We'll poke fun at that. Tim Grubbs from the Wichita Wind Surge will join the show in about 25 minutes to talk about some of the promos happening at this weekend and the fireworks with the festivities there at Equity Bank Park. Maybe we'll revisit the Jaylen Brown trade in the NBA. We'll talk comprehensive coverage in the National Football League at 5. We're moving on to the Eagles, and we'll wrap up the entire division in the NFC East today. We'll talk with Paul Suellentrop, senior communicator from Wichita State, get his thoughts on some of the recent coaching hires, this $500,000 donation challenge, and maybe even some TBT news, and we'll round out the show. Stephen A. Smith has people pissed off online. All right, Sasha, what's going on, dude?
It's a big rundown. There's lots going on. This World Cup stuff, like, I know soccer isn't part of the normal cadence of our sports talk shows, really anywhere in the U.S., especially these local shows, but the numbers that these games are pulling television-wise are telling you that people are interested. Whether they're enjoying it or not may be another question, but they're interested in what's going on, so I think it's worthy of a conversation.
A lot of people who never really watched European soccer, MLS, maybe hadn't thought about soccer since they played as a child, are diving into this. And I can appreciate the United States adjustment and sort of waking up to, hey, there's this major sport going on. The World Cup is kind of like the biggest sporting event in the entire world. And even though I don't know if I'm going to go back to watching soccer, I do appreciate how much the United States citizens are buying into this. So here, Devin is sort of in line with me here. The USA red card was BS. Tell me if that was Messi or Ronaldo, it wouldn't be a red card. I think you're right. And look, that emoji, the ghost emoji, really shows it all. It's a huge blow to the next game. I agree. Your comments there on Facebook. Anytime, drop them here throughout the show. So let's go to the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. You are inside the press box. How are you?
Hey, JC. Hey, Sasha. This is Corey. How are y'all?
What's up, Corey?
What up?
And everything. I've been to different. I've been in a soccer fan since I was 8, JC. And
Nice.
everything.
Since you're 8 years old, what's your favorite league?
A European League with Manchester United. Soccer.
Gotcha. The English Premier League.
You know.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Did you watch the game last night, Corey?
No, not really. No, I
What?
was into the baseball thing. I was in the baseball thing.
You're telling me you've been a fan for decades, and you like soccer, you like the Premier League, you like Manchester United, but the World Cup, Team USA, what? Not going to watch.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I heard they won. But
Yeah.
this is the first time, y'all, that USA won in, went pretty far in 24 years, and
Yeah,
big
it's
time,
the second. It's only the second knockout stage game they've ever won, and I need to do some research on when the first one was, but
I think 02.
I will say that's a little watered down, that stat, because you're seeing that it's the first knockout stage game that Mexico's won in 40 years too. It's a little watered down. The knockout stage was usually 16 teams. 32 made the World Cup, so only the top 16 made the knockout. So just getting to the knockout stage got a lot easier, first of all. Second of all, you were down to the final 16 before. So really, you got to win 2 knockout stage games to make it equal to winning 1 in the past. Hopefully the USA can get that done next Monday.
Yeah, I think, there's some good teams. Sasha's still in it,
Yeah,
And
we were looking at the
USA needs to
bracket.
watch out.
Spain had a dominant victory today, 3-0 over Austria. Belgium with the shocking comeback last night. That kind of happened during our show. Argentina, I think, has to be a major favorite, and as well as Mexico, Norway, kind of at the bottom of the bracket as well. Brazil, Norway should be interesting. Brazil, a little close for comfort against Japan, and Norway even gave up a goal to Ivory Coast. So I would say maybe England's in the mix too.
Yeah, I think I like to see, somebody. All right, USA has played that other team this next week, but the next round, if they win the next series, and next team after that, I like to see them play a good, hard team. Then you know where they're at, to play soccer.
Maybe so. I don't know
Big time.
if we even want that smoke. I think I'd prefer an easier path. So, Corey, I appreciate it. Thanks for the call.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the call, Corey. Yeah, and I want to get into last night's action a little bit, but I'll just say this. With the home soil, there's only 3 or 4 teams in this tournament that I'd say like the USA wouldn't be like about even money with. They'll be big underdogs against France or Spain or maybe Brazil and Argentina. But outside of that, I don't think there's teams that are head and shoulders above the USA left in this tournament.
All right, let's paint the picture from last night. A 2-0 win for the United States over Bosnia and Herzegovina. And look, as far as the scoring, you like the goals out of Balogun and Tillman here. But the main storyline, real concern, started to set in as the minutes sort of progressed. And at minute 64, Balogun got a red card that a lot of people did not feel like was justified. Sasha, I know you got a pretty big take about this. I sort of do as well, as far as, look, I don't want to see the sport be to where, ankles can get tied up. Yes, you maybe step down on someone's foot, but to actually go as far as suspending someone for a game, and then you compare that to other sports that we know and what it takes to get, suspended for a game in the NBA or MLB or NFL. It feels like a lot more severe of a punishment here in soccer.
I don't think there's enough appreciation by the soccer community for how big of a penalty a red card is, right? With the size of penalty it is, you're getting kicked out. Not only are you getting kicked out, they can't replace you. You're literally playing with one less player the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So 30-minute power play, as I saw one person on Twitter say. Secondly, you're suspended for the next game. So if that's the case, if it's going to be that big of a penalty, it should be really hard to get one.
Right.
That's my opinion. So I would say, like, I don't know whether they got the call right or not. I'm not educated enough on soccer, and there's a lot of rules being thrown around. But what I'll say is I don't know which one would piss me off more, right, is if they got it right or if they got it wrong. Because if they got it right, that just means the rule stinks, and they're kicking people out of games for very little reasons. And if they got it wrong, that means the USA has a lot greater chance of losing their next game than they would have if they hadn't called that. My only other main thought about it is an individual game referee should not have that kind of power, right? Any referee in any sport can kick someone out of a game.
True.
I'm fine with that. But for them to be suspended for a next game that he's not even a part of, that's got to come to some sort of governing body after the fact. That way, if he screws it up in the game but the team wins anyways, they can clean it up after the fact. Not only does it not go to a governing body after the fact, they don't even have an appeals process for that referee's decision.
That's tough. And I feel like I was making a lot of progress here and going to respect the game, and I still am, but I almost kind of revert back to an original take after this call from last night where I feel like soccer is just a little soft, man. I want to see a little bit more contact, a little bit more physicality. If a guy is clear as day trying to injure someone, he goes up top. I know it's a different story, but in a play where you're thinking, man, was the intent even there? I want to see there not be a suspension for the following game, especially in a tournament setting. So with that, I appreciate your patience here on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. Are you still with us?
Yes.
What's going on?
What up, Jay-Z? What up, Jay-Z?
What's up, Dakota?
Do you think he really deserved the red card?
It's tough because, like, some people have already told me throughout this tournament, hey, if you're coming in and you're trying to, adjust the rules and you don't really know soccer, that's not fair. But I think this is already in the territory where a lot of people who do like soccer and do follow soccer feel like this was an unfair call on Balogun here. And from my, very casual soccer standpoint, I'm used to watching more physical sports, football, basketball, UFC, for crying out loud. You would have to do a lot more drastic of an act to actually truly get kicked out of a game and then suspended. So I think it's kind of a gripe overall in the sport a little bit, but I still respect what's going on here in the United States and rallying behind this team.
I do agree. I don't think he would deserve that red card.
Yeah.
I think even the Bosnia player came and put his arm around him and they had a quick conversation and of course we don't know what they were saying on the pitch, but it almost kind of has the image of, I feel bad for that call you just got.
Yeah, and listen, and beyond some people think they're experts and the Americans are just dumb Americans who have I've seen the rules typed out and written, and they first of all they broke a rule. They slowed it down frame by frame, put it in slow motion with the VAR to review it. You're not allowed to do that. Also, and in real time, real speed, it was not a vicious or malicious act. I can read the rules and still say it's a bad call. Just because I don't watch a soccer game every Saturday and Sunday doesn't mean I can't see when something doesn't measure up right to the standard of what it should be to kick a player out of a game and suspend him for the next one.
Yeah, I do agree. And we do get free pizza for that.
Oh, yeah. Domino's gave out $1 million worth of pizza. Is that what you're talking about?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a promotion. If a USA player got a red card, Domino's had to give out $1 million in emergency pizza.
Wow, I know they're I don't know
I
if
didn't
they're
know
happy
that.
about
I wish
that.
I would have known that last night. I would have had a pizza.
I guess the
at my door.
promotion gains popularity from the red card, but they got to give away all this free pizza and lose money.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right, Dakota.
Thanks, Dakota.
We appreciate it. Clear, quick, and concise. Dakota on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines, 522-1410. James, you're dropping a link here to the ifab.com for anyone who is confused. Devin is saying it's a massive blow. Look, we can be confused on why this is a call, but I think we can have the take that, look, if this is how you officiate the sport, that we're not gonna like this certain rule with this sport.
And
right?
listen, if you're gonna listen, I clicked on your link, James. First of all, it's just a huge website. The first thing I saw though was the VAR protocol, so I can see that they screwed it up. based on your link. So appreciate the help there, James.
All right, let's go to the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines once again. It's your turn here in the press box. How are you?
Well, it's me, and this is something I don't know much about, but I've seen the play.
Join the club.
And then I also have heard some of the national pundits, especially on the Stu Gotts show, and one of the guys he had on said this call was as atrocious as the Dez Bryant catch, no catch. Best way to sum it up. And if you've seen the play, Sasha, like you said, it wasn't egregious. It wasn't no malicious intent. And like you said, the players, they had conversation. So you could tell there was respect for each other. And, if the player that the act was committed on, if he didn't feel that there was no intent, then, and to make matters even worse, didn't they say Messier had a similar call, but it got overturned or something like that? So it's like, let me put it this way, let me reference this. It's kind of like Coco Gauff when she confronted the line judge at the tennis match and confronted her on the rules, how she was being biased toward the other player. So it looks like we got some Messier bias, but we ain't got no U.S. bias, and we're the home team. So make that make sense. So that's all I have to say on that. I want to talk about some other things, but since I was talking about this, I said I'm going to try to stay on topic based on the little knowledge
you went pretty quick, A-Train, but we appreciate that mindset.
Feel free to call back later when we get to what you're talking about. We'll take two today, Anthony. We'll take two today.
Trade talk. Yeah, trade talk. All right.
All righty.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
We'll do. 522-4210.
I will spin this a little bit forward, which is I like my visceral reaction to it is like, hey, I've been getting pretty into this World Cup. This makes me like want to hate soccer more. But but I think that reaction is more in line with the fact that I'm rooting pretty hard for the USA in this deal. And when you look at this objectively, there is officiating controversy in every sport we watch, right? We whether it's basketball, football, American football, whether it's baseball, like we see these officiating controversies. This is an example of that. So I don't think it should just turn into like crap on soccer over the deal. The reality is, and I say this all the time when we're talking about other sports, I've been pretty consistent with the fact that like crying about officiating is not the best way to react to losing. And the reality is it's about how you respond to things. And the USA not only responded by not surrendering a goal, but they scored another goal and won 2-0. Mm-hmm. It just stinks that it affects the next game. That's what makes me mad. But I will say the USA had a great response to a tough situation they got put in. Even if the call was right, they got put in a tough situation, and they responded how athletes should.
Last thing I got on Team USA, the World Cup, USA or not, I don't think I'm ever going to be a fan of players who are trying to get the other player a red card, and their process in which doing so is rolling on the ground and faking an injury and being overly dramatic. I'm never going to be a fan of athletes doing that, really across sports. And then I'm also not going to be a fan of referees who sort of have the mindset that they want to be bigger than the sport itself. I don't know if that was the mindset of the referee, but I think with the severe punishment, how this has an after effect into the Belgium game, and we're really starting to witness history here, and that kind of does relate back to specifically the United States. And you want to at least get a shot. If you're going to go out, you want to go out swinging against a team like Spain, who maybe goes on to win the World Cup, right? We want to see history. But if you kind of go into this Belgium match, and a lot of people kind of come away feeling like, man, if we just had Balogun, or however you say his name is, then you would have had a shot to win. But it feels like we're getting robbed of even having a chance.
Listen, we're still favored to win the game. I think we're better than Belgium, especially on home soil, especially in Seattle. And if we win, it's like nothing lost, right? We get Balogun back for the quarterfinal, and he's ready to go, and we're all excited. But if you lose, there's always that what if in the back of your mind. Would he have put one in the back of the net that made the difference in the game against Belgium, and you lost because of that?
All right, man, these phone lines are hot. Let's take a fourth here in the first segment of the press box. You are inside of it. How are you, man?
What up?
What's up, Devin?
Devin.
I got to ask the question, though. If that was Messi, would that have been a red card?
No, absolutely not. And honestly,
So
he had to
that's
play
my
just
point.
like that earlier in the
That
tournament.
would be my only point. Exactly, and it was almost even worse, but no call. And the fact that it's affecting the next game is probably the biggest outcry. I mean, it's it wouldn't cause much of a scene if it was a red card. Cool, it affected that game. Now we're talking about the next game. I mean, it's frustrating.
That's actually the bigger
Especially
point to me, Devin. Is I can't think of any other sport where a referee of a game has the ability to take a player out of the next game that he's not even going to be officiating.
Well, targeting in college football, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, yeah, and especially if you don't watch soccer, like, I mean, you wouldn't even know that. I mean, everyone probably just found that out by the news today.
Let's get an orange card, and an orange card, you're out for the game, but you can play the next game.
Or they'll review whether you can play the next game. There's got to be somebody else who reviews that.
And also, too, something to think about. This only happens every 4 years. So, I mean, it's not like, hey, we'll get another shot at it next year. I mean, it's like this call effects are big. I mean, it's like these are massive blows. I mean, some of these countries spend their entire lives playing with each other to get an opportunity to play on this field. So, I mean, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee the USA will ever have this good of a team again because they've got most of their best players are in their prime. They're 24 to 28 years old, and like in 4 years they're going to be 4 years older. So they could be just as good 4 years from now, but you don't know.
Well, and the most frustrating part is if that was Ronaldo or Messi, it wouldn't have been called. And that's the point that, is the most frustrating part. It's like, be fair about it. It's like, LeBron doesn't get the phone call or the calls in the league. It's like complete opposite. So, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's just frustrating because just like to your point, it's every 4 years, and this is probably the best team we've ever put together. And it's like, now we're already.
And Devin, I know when I was playing soccer at age 6, I was out there probably kicking kids in the shin all over the soccer field, right? And to think that, okay, if I actually happen to accidentally step on one in youth soccer, that's probably no big deal. It's like, all right, they're kids, don't worry about it. But in the pros, professional athletes, like it's a major deal, causing a suspension. Allow a little bit more physicality, guys. They're fine. They're okay.
Yeah, and to the point about the star player, I will say, we were in the NBA Finals 2 weeks ago, and people were mad that Wemby wasn't getting flagrants that he could have gotten and not get. So like that does happen sometimes, right? The NBA didn't want Wemby out of that series.
Yeah.
Right. No, 100%. But then you also got to think about it. They have yellow cards for a reason. Why didn't they use it? There's a warning for a reason.
Well, and the fact that he didn't even get a yellow card to begin with before they went to video kind of tells you all you need to know.
Right. All right, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Devin. Appreciate it.
Will do.
There was we got a guess next. I was going to say there was another controversial call in that game, but we can get to it later in the show.
Every time there's the World Cup, the band's yellow card maybe gets a few more downloads. We'll talk with Tim Grubbs from the Wichita Wind Surge next up.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
The road to the football season starts at Big 12 Media Days, July 7th and 8th. Join KGSO live from the Star in Texas for coach and player interviews as the excitement builds for what promises to be a thrilling season for both KU and K-State. Get extensive coverage on Wichita's #1 sports talk, KGSO, during the game plan and press box, bringing you the latest news and insights straight from Big 12 Media Days. Coverage is proudly sponsored by Moneytown Pawn, Jewelry Savers, B&C Barbecue, and Mr. B's Donuts.
Wichita Clear Bra, your quality auto spa.
Window tinting, ceramic coating, paint protection film, vinyl wraps, full wraps, clear, stealth, and color. WichitaClearBra.com.
Wichita Clear Bra, your quality auto spa.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Kansas knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. you'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This is The Herd.
You got to be consistent.
With Colin Cowherd.
Mike check. James Dolan is not for bringing the band back together next year. I agree with Dolan. He doesn't want to get caught up in what they call the second apron. Folks, the Celtics and the Thunder over the last couple years won a title, brought everybody back, and didn't reach the finals again.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays at 11 a.m. right here on KGSO and on the SC Wichita app.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
KGSO Studio presented by Seven Clans Casino, Hotel and Resort. It pays to cross the line. The TBT tournament is here, and we have you covered. This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
All right, welcome on back to the press box here on 1410 93.9 KGSO as we have worked our way back into the Seven Clans KGSO studios. We were opening up the show. The phone lines were busy where we're talking action in the football world, a.k.a. soccer World Cup action with the United States, controversy with a red card, but I want to go to some positive vibes here. A weekend of fun. I know Tim Grubbs is going to be seeing it there at Equity Bank Park with the Wichita Wind Surge. Tim, what is going on, man?
Well, it's great to talk to you guys. As always, it's going to be a fun weekend here. First time ever, 4 straight nights of fireworks. So we're certainly excited. Fireworks tonight, fireworks Friday, which is your norm, fireworks Saturday, and then we'll play our first ever Sunday night game too, here at home, and of course follow it up with fireworks that might have escaped town or might have been busy all weekend. You know, you got one more chance to see fireworks if you didn't get enough.
Nice, and I think it's a great setup to have back-to-back homestands here leading up to the 4th of July break and then the week after as well. So I kind of want to hit on the 4th of July day game. I'm thinking about going with some buddies. Of course, America's turning 250 years old, and I'm seeing it, the Wind Surge. You got a promo here for a 4th of July beverage belt. This sounds like something up Sasha's alley here, Tim. Explain how this beverage belt works.
It absolutely is right up his alley. It is basically a belt you could wear that has 6 koozies connected to it. You could have an entire 6-pack around your waist. And then the koozies, one of them is a Wind Surge logo, but most of the rest of them are very patriotic. You know, America 250 logos, flags, everything you would think about, the holiday and celebrating, a great holiday.
Yeah, we got the 4th coming up, and it's exciting times for Wind Surge baseball and having fun with the holiday. I want to go back a couple of weeks, though, because the last time we had you on, you were teasing a big announcement that was coming up, and you guys made it, and I don't think we've gotten to talk to you since you were able to actually comment on it. The name change to the Turbo Tubs. Talk about what all went into that decision and what that's going to look like for next year for this ball club.
Yeah, no, it's unprecedented that a team makes an announcement like that in the middle of the season. First time ever. And the only reason why we did, typically you just wait to the off season to make that kind of announcement, make the change. But with Riverfest going on, everything that's connected with it, it felt, you know what, it's only right. Let's just do it, especially since, the bathtub races will be back.
So I'm seeing promos here that relate to the Turbo Tubs. You guys have a full-on Turbo Tubs night next Thursday. You're giving away Turbo Tub bathrobes, for crying out loud. Kind of tell me maybe what's in the works as far as what you're going to be giving away in relation to the new team.
Yeah, no. So tonight is the robe giveaway to go along with your standard Thirsty Thursday drink schedule and all that sort of stuff, plus the fireworks. But the robe giveaway is phenomenal. It might be one of the best giveaways we've ever done. I saw them get unveiled a couple of days ago, when the shipment came in, and I knew what it was. I've been teasing it, promoting it, and then all of a sudden I see one, and I'm like, this thing's awesome. You know what I mean? It's just a full, whatever color that is, teal robe with the Tubbs logo on it, right on, and it looks like a great looking smoking jacket if you're into that. But it's a really cool look, and we'll see. That's going to be given away tonight. A hot dog scented candle tomorrow to go along with fireworks. Then you guys have already teased the beverage belt, and then a garden gnome giveaway on Sunday night baseball. So 4 great giveaways, 4 great fireworks shows. So we're super excited. This is going to be a lot of fun this weekend.
Hot dog scented candle. That's something I could get behind, because you don't want to eat. You want to eat hot dogs at the ballpark every once in a while, but if you eat them every day, you could have problems with your figures. So if you just have a candle that smells like them, it kind of satisfies that whole problem all the time.
Yeah, and it's actually the scent is not quite. It's called a hot dog scented candle, but as a person who devours hot dogs, I've smelled it. It's like, I don't really know if it's a hot dog scent. You know what I mean? I think the scent to it is probably closer to movie theater popcorn. You know what I mean? But it looks like a hot dog and all that, but it's pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
We're giving that away tomorrow. So yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend, with the night games, and and we've got the team that's in town right now is the Tulsa Drillers, so it's an easy commute for them to come up, and that'll be fun. And then next weekend we'll take the day off Monday, and then next week we got the Kansas City Royals affiliate coming into town for 6, so this is a double homestand.
Well, Sasha, you never know about holding weight with hot dogs, because Joey Chestnut eats more than anybody, and he's sort of on the thin side still for now. But Tim, kind of back here to the Wind Surge, or maybe even an ex-Wind Surge player with Walker Jenkins. I know this moment went viral across sports of how in AAA, I believe, has a kid right with him. They're going through the national anthem pregame, and then the kid appears like he's about to faint, and Jenkins does a nice job and races him off of the diamond. Did you get to see this? What were your thoughts?
Yes, I did happen to see it, and obviously Walker, his nickname, if you saw the whole story, has always been Captain America, and what a great, it just kind of proves what a great guy that he is. He played here with the Wind Surge back in 25, and he's knocking on the door of getting to the big leagues, and this is only going to help his cause so people can see, what kind of guy he is, and he's fantastic human being. He'll also be playing in the Major League Baseball futures game at the All-Star week, part of the All-Star festivities in a couple of weeks in Philadelphia. So I saw a kid that had been out in the heat, couldn't handle it, and he just picked him up and rushed him to the athletic trainer in the first base dugout. And obviously they got some water and got him in some air conditioning and got him some ice packs and cooled the kid down. And it's a heartwarming story, and it kind of reminds everybody that, in the heat, definitely got to take care of yourself. And sometimes these kids don't necessarily know it until it's a little bit too late.
Yeah, and you mentioned Captain America on 4th of July weekend is headed to the Futures game. It says here he's the 14th ranked prospect in all of baseball, top in the organization. So great guy and great baseball player. It's good to see. That's a former Wind Surge player, which obviously means the Wind Surge had to get a new player, and that happens all the time in minor league baseball with guys leaving and guys coming up. So talk a little bit about the roster shakeups as of late, any new exciting players on the team as of late.
Yeah, Merrick Houston, who was the Minnesota Twins' first-round draft pick out of Wake Forest, joined the team last week. He made his home debut last night, picked up a hit. Great defensive shortstop, one of the best in all of minor league baseball. He was a first-round pick. He's just 22 years old. He's coming up the system quickly, so we're excited about getting Merrick here. And, he's on his way, and he played his first Wind Surge home game last night. He'll be back in the lineup tonight. So that's the next one. And, yeah, with the team, you take a look at the win-loss record for the Wind Surge right now, it's not great. It's not been, as good of a year as last year or even the year before. And it's just growing pains right now as we've got a pretty young lineup with guys like Merrick Houston and Billy Amick. And we also picked up a catcher a couple of weeks ago since the last time we all chatted, Hadim Zhao, who not only is he a very athletic catcher, he can also play center field. So that's a combination that, I don't know how often I've ever seen that in my career. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the guy I can think of is maybe like an MJ Melendez, who was a catcher at one point and ended up as an outfielder, but it is pretty rare for sure.
Absolutely, and he's a corner outfielder. So, yeah, that's impressive to be able to have the ability to play center field. But, yeah, you're right about that. It exists, and obviously I remember when Craig Biggio came up with Houston, he was originally a catcher, and then they moved him to second base, and then ultimately to kind of save his legs, they moved him out to center field. But it does happen, but it's not all that often, that's for sure.
Talking with Tim Grubbs, the broadcaster of the Wichita Wind Surge here on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines on KGSO. Now, Tim, I think I'll try to ask you this. I don't think we've ever really asked you about anything other than baseball, but you were listening to the show this morning, the Game Plan from 6 to 9 with Doug and Chuck, and I guess you had some comments about Chuck not knowing his quarterbacks, not knowing his history. Maybe said something about Dan Marino. Kind of catch us up on what that conversation was and what you disagreed with.
It was funny because I thought maybe you were listening because it was certainly right after I'm listening to Doug and Chuck do the show early this morning, and then they showed a photograph, but they're talking about a photograph that was on social media of a collection of quarterbacks and which one of these guys is the worst in the group? And I don't remember all the names, but Mahomes, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Dan Marino, I think it was Aaron Rodgers, John Elway. It was a very prestigious, it's a list where every guy in the photograph is a Hall of Famer. And no doubt Hall of Famer. It's just, but who is the worst in the group? And, when you texted me to line up for today, and his answer was Dan Marino, and I'm just like, wow. I know Marino doesn't have any rings, but, you can't win a Super Bowl by yourself. And he did go to a Super Bowl with Miami. And obviously I'm a little bit older than him. So obviously when in the 80s, I always believed Marino reinvented the position. And there's probably a better argument of him being more number one on that list than being last. Obviously the lack of championships is always going to hurt his resume. But no, that's all. When you mentioned it, I was like, I gotta let him know. I know. And nowadays, you can't look at statistics. They throw the ball way more now in the NFL than they did.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I think Dak Prescott has thrown the most yards in Dallas Cowboy history, and obviously, we're not putting him above a Troy Aikman or a Roger Staubach, as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Dak, but statistically, it is a little bit different. So it's a different game, but I definitely wanted Chuck to know that I did not agree with his Dan Marino.
We'll let him know.
Yeah, you got to let him know. Hey, listen, you can look at this. If you look at stats, you got to compare him to guys who played at the same time as them. And that was the thing about Marino is if you look at like his yardage numbers, they're comparable to the guys who play now. And if you went and compared him to the guys who were playing when he was playing, he was putting up huge numbers. So I'm on Google right now, like looking at thousands of pictures of different groups of quarterbacks and who's the worst. So this has got my wheels turning big time.
I'm not going to sit here. I mean, I'm a Steelers fan, so I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So Ben Roethlisberger would probably have been the worst of that group, even though he has 2 Super Bowl championships and has been to the Super Bowl 3 times. That was immediately my answer. But you know what I mean? It's a very prestigious list of some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So if Doug and Chuck happen to be listening, even as a Steeler fan, I would probably have maybe put him last. But Drew Brees was on the list too. So I'm not sure. I know there's multiple of these pictures and stuff goes viral, but it was a list of guys that I'm like, I don't know, they're all great. So, but yeah, it's all fun and games that I just needed to poke at him,
Yeah, for sure. So let me get us back on minor league baseball to kind of close some things out so we can talk about the win surge and the Twins organization as a whole a little bit. I mentioned that Walker Jenkins is headed to the Futures game. Is there any other players you know of or notable players going to the Futures game in minor league baseball that people around here would want to hear about?
Yeah, well, the other one that's coming from the Twins, another former Wind Surge player, is Kalen Culpepper, who played collegiately up the road at K-State. He played here last year as well. So KC and Walker will represent the Twins. Currently, this Tulsa team that's in town, which is an affiliate of the defending World Series champion LA Dodgers, and this team, by the way, with Tulsa's loaded. They have, several top 100 prospects. And what I mean by top 100, that means top 100 in all of baseball, not just in the Dodger organization or not just within the Texas League. And Josue DePaula and Mike Sirota, who are both number 1 and 2 in the starting lineup tonight for the Drillers, will both be representing LA. And I don't know if I'll ever, and I'm not going out on a ledge saying this. I don't think those two will ever play for the Los Angeles Dodgers, because I'm assuming a month from now when we're back on the show talking about the trade deadline that there's a good chance that those two guys could be in a trade to get the Dodgers some arms or to get them some big league ready guys now. I know there's some rumors with them trying to go get Tarek Skubal from Detroit. Now, I just wouldn't be shocked. You know what I mean? They're going to want to hold on to these guys, but those guys are big-time players.
Yeah. All right, Tim, final question for me while we're on Major League Baseball, and you were mentioning, hey, with the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, who the Surge play next week, they're the Sun team of the Kansas City Royals here. Look, the Royals are disastrous in the American League. Is any help on the way from the Northwest Arkansas Naturals feeding to the Royals here soon?
Yeah, no, Northwest is right above us in division standings right now, so it's not looking too good. But that doesn't, you sit here and you make jokes about that sort of stuff. Yeah. But there are talent. There's a lot of talent. There's some guys down up in AAA Omaha for the Royals that are coming, and obviously some guys in Quad Cities. But I need to get refreshed. We have not played those guys since the first week of May. We're still in the middle of the Tulsa series, so I don't really know who's on the current Naturals roster. But there is some talent there for sure. And there's some guys that are making their way up. So that one you threw me a curveball here because I haven't really started to peek ahead other than what their win-loss record is and knowing that we're going to play them next Tuesday to really get a feel for who we're going to see next week. But it's been a frustrating season for Royals fans. I mean, this was a year that you thought, maybe not division title, but a wild card. And here you are standing at in last place in a year where the American League is absolutely wide open. There's only a couple of teams even over 500, so it's been crazy to see how much better teams are on the National League side of things in the American League. I don't think I ever recall it being this lopsided.
Well, Tim, maybe I threw you a curveball, but it was off the plate. That's a 1-0 count, and you're sure to get on base thereafter. He is Tim Grubbs of the Wichita Wind Surge, doing a great job broadcasting games for minor league baseball here in the ICT. Tim, we appreciate it, man.
Hey, hope to see everybody out here. 4 straight fireworks nights. It all starts tonight through Sunday night. Happy 4th, everyone.
Thanks, Tim.
We'll see you. On the other side, we'll bring it back. Maybe we'll revisit the NBA. I kind of want to talk some hot dog eating challenge as well with Joey Chestnut. He's the GOAT.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
The road to the football season starts at Big 12 Media Days, July 7th and 8th. Join KGSO live from the Star in Texas for coach and player interviews as the excitement builds for what promises to be a thrilling season for both KU and K-State. Get extensive coverage on Wichita's #1 sports talk, KGSO, during the game plan and press box, bringing you the latest news and insights straight from Big 12 Media Days. Coverage is proudly sponsored by Moneytown Pawn, Jewelry Savers, BNC Barbecue, and Mr. B's Donuts.
There's a lot of noise out there. With a million different views, opinions, and voices, how do you know who you can trust? Local Kansas broadcasters like Kate News aren't just faces on the screen. They live here, work here, and care about what matters to you. Kate News keeps you informed, connected, and safe with news and weather information from your community. Try us over the air, online, or on your device. Kate News, on your side.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Kansas. This is sportsmanship. School sports, it's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This is the Jason Smith Show.
Check this out.
Pay attention. With Mike Harmon.
The home field advantage for the United States in this World Cup is immeasurable. This is an advantage that I can't believe I didn't take enough of this into account, that this was going to be such a big deal for the United States.
You're listening to Jason Smith with Mike Harmon.
Overnights with Jason Smith here on KGSO. Wichita's home for sports talk, going 20 years strong. This is KGSO.
Guys, the phone lines have been hot all afternoon. Let's keep them sizzling. On the Maximum Outdoor Equipment Hotlines, 316-522-1410. Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka, taking you home. Maybe it's the last day you got to work this week. You've made it. You've made it. Maybe you got one more day. Maybe you got to work on the 4th of July. Shout out to you. Oh, speaking of the holiday, man, it is a tradition like no other to watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I know a couple years ago they weren't going to have it, and then Joey Chestnut stormed the Capitol and made sure it happened. Okay, that's not exactly what went down, but hey, the hot dog eating contest is a staple of 4th of July, and I got to think eating a hot dog here in 2 days is going to be maybe about the most American thing that you could pull off. And I was looking at some odds here because we are a sports talk show. Joey Chestnut to win his 18th hot dog eating competition, he is minus 2,000. I look, you are never going to see a line for a championship, especially like an annual event where a guy's already dominated it for nearly 2 decades, and he's this big of a favorite over the rest of the field. I mean, you got to throw down $2,000 just to win $100.
Yeah, listen, it's one of the few sporting events. Yes, sporting events. You heard it.
Absolutely.
One of the few sporting events in this country where everybody knows who's going to win, and you still want to tune in. You still want to see greatness. Yeah. And nobody is more dominant in what they do than Joey Chestnut. I mean, if somebody's got an idea of someone who's more dominant in what they do than Joey Chestnut, call up, let us know, drop us a comment on Facebook. I'd love to hear it because I didn't do any comprehensive research on that statement. But the guy just eats more hot dogs than anyone every single year, and it's disgusting. He dips them in water and just eats the buns and the hot dogs separately, and it gives you a weak stomach just thinking about it. But it's greatness. We're witnessing greatness. There's no doubt about it.
I don't know if it's one of those Kansas-specific bets that you can't place, but I'm not seeing on my sportsbook of choice, I'm not seeing the wager for over-unders. And I remember betting on this in recent years. I think Chestnut's line last year, or whenever I last bet on this, was like 71.5 hot dogs, and it hit the under by like a dog and a half. Apparently, it's in the range, depending on the books, of 72.5 and 77.5, although it's kind of up to what you can find out there. I would say Chestnut's probably past his peak. I don't know if he's going to go out there and eat 80 hot dogs. I think that would set a new record, but hey, maybe grab some yourself and eat along with Joey.
I am on the I've got how many hot dogs? There's some combined over-unders. They got 70.5. I found it.
Okay.
Total hot dogs eaten by Joey Chestnut. They have some combined ones as well. They also have winners without, where you can bet on like who will win the contest taking out Joey Chestnut. Patrick Bertoletti is minus 400, so apparently he's the second best eater in the world.
And yeah, he was up there last year, last event. He'll still be like 20, 30 dogs off of Joey, and so the dominance is not just in the wins, it's by margin of victory. Yeah, I am seeing the total here at last. You got to go down quite a bit. 70.5, you're correct. The under is favored at minus 1.
You can do some like kind of like horse racing style bets too, like the superfectas and the trifectas, where you pick an exact result in an order of finish. So you can go like Joey Chestnut and Jeffrey Esper in second. That's plus 800. You go Patrick Bertoletti, then Joey Chestnut, plus 1,100. So there's some different ways you can wager on this deal.
You know, no matter the wager,
the field is plus 350, which is they're really screwing you. You get minus 2,000 on Joey Chestnut. If you want to bet the field, you get plus 350. That's brutal.
You know, no matter the wager you bet this weekend, I don't know if anyone made a worse bet than what Brad Stevens did yesterday during our show. I mean, Celtic fans everywhere are in shambles. I had to bring it up again today. It's just that big of news. I'm almost thinking maybe LeBron has his eyes set on Philly. That'd be an interesting destination. But, like, the Celtics are still, like, by a huge gap. Next year's championship odds, the Celtics are favored above Philly to get out of the East, and I just don't agree with that.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. I did see some graphics going up today. They're like 36-6 with Jaylen Brown out of the lineup the last 3 years. That stuff's kind of fugazi sometimes, though, because it's different than playing without him every game. But I think what Brad Stevens was telling you is he doesn't want to be in the Jaylen Brown business for the rest of his life. Because he's due. They still have 3 years and $184 million left on his deal, and he's due for an extension in about 3 weeks. And I think that's one of the problems the NBA has right now is you pay these guys in their prime, but then they come up for extensions like several years before their contract's over, and it's like, give it to me or I want to trade. So it's like you have to pay them until they're 38 what they were worth when they were 28. Just to keep them on your team. And I think he just decided we're going to be in the Jason Tatum business. We're going to build around him.
I think even if Jaylen Brown isn't a top 5 player, he's still worth a max contract, even like a super max under the team that he was drafted on. He won a finals MVP. I don't think you can forget that. It's certainly worth bringing up to the table. So it's an odd move. I think Paul George can provide you a little bit. I think the picks, if they flip him into a quality player, maybe you're working with something then. But I know what maybe be the toughest pill to swallow is reports are coming out that the main reason that potentially they didn't pull the trigger on getting Giannis from the Bucks was that they didn't want to give Giannis a third year on the deal that he was asking for. They were only willing to give him 2 years on the deal. And so just a difference in one season upstairs in the front office there with Brad Stevens and company in Boston, that was enough to kind of get them to halt their pursuit of Giannis. And I don't know if that's what you want to have come out and your fan base realize. That's not a good look, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Celtics, they got worse yesterday. There's no doubt about that. But they've got one eye in the future. I think Brad Stevens will do some things with the picks. It's a real conversation who's better between the Celtics and the 76ers now, because the 76ers haven't proven that they can take talent and make it into a winning team.
I don't think the Knicks have a shoe-in to repeat or get out of the East. Detroit might not be the 1 seed next year. It's open. Call the show back at 5. Comprehensive coverage next.
The road to the football season starts at Big 12 Media Days, July 7th and 8th. Join KGSO live from the Star in Texas for coach and player interviews as the excitement builds for what promises to be a thrilling season for both KU and K-State. Get extensive coverage on Wichita's #1 sports talk, KGSO, during the game plan and press box, bringing you the latest news and insights straight from Big 12 Media Days. Coverage is proudly sponsored by Moneytown Pawn, Jewelry Savers, B&C Barbecue, and Mr. B's Donuts.
Fire sale at the Black Friday Deals and Discount Store on 47th and Broadway. Truckloads of brand new items from Amazon, Walmart, and Target. But for just $10, nearly everything in the store is on sale for just $10 Friday and $7 on Saturday. Electronics like controllers, laptops, headphones, just $10. Name brand clothing and shoes, Stanley Cups, accessories, all kinds of household items, just $10. Come check out the brand new Ashley Furniture for discount price. 120 days, same as cash, $5 down. So don't break your budget and shop today at the Black Friday Deals and Discount Store.
Changes in weather can make or break Kansas farms.
It's going to pick up in intensity a little bit overnight tonight.
That affects us all. That's why you need a meteorologist you can trust to give you accurate and up-to-the-minute information each and every day.
I'm Jay Prater. I know how important an accurate forecast is to you. With Cake First Alert Forecast, I'll give you precise conditions in your area, wherever you are in Cakeland.
Trust Jay Prater and Cake First Alert, your weather authority. Cake News, on your side.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When hurricane winds are gusting? When floodwaters reach your door? Or a blizzard blocks all the roads? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to nyc.gov/readyny or call 311 and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by New York City Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
All right, folks, let's get started. Parents, thanks for coming. As many of you know, I'm Coach Mather. Tonight I want to talk about the season, of which I only have one expectation, that everybody gets stronger. When I say get stronger, I'm not referring solely to physical strength. Sure, we'll be in the weight room, we'll be running stairs, but we're also going to focus on developing mental toughness and grit, because those are the characteristics that allow us to achieve greatness both on and off the court. So how do we develop those things? By getting comfortable with a challenge, by cultivating the confidence necessary to overcome adversity in all forms. That's why I coach. That's my purpose. Every member of this team can lean on me, and I'll teach them how they can lean on themselves and each other.
This message presented by the KSHSAA and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
At Wheelchairs for Warriors, serving America's heroes is our mission. With your support, we serve veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty across the United States of America, providing them custom-fit, complex rehab mobility solutions to ensure they rejoin their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. Join the mission at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
This is Wichita's sports station, K230PY, 93.9 FM, 1410 AM, and 99.7 HD3. KGSO Belle Plaine, Wichita. Broadcasting live from the KGSO studios in West Wichita.
I feel more informed when I listen.
This is The Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Alrighty, folks, welcome on back. 1 hour into the books. 5 o'clock hour. Welcome to it. Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka, inside the Seviclan's First Council Casino, Hotel, and Resort Studios. Here on KGSO, your longest running sports talk station here in town. 1410 AM, 93.9 FM, the SC Wichita app. You like country, check out Hank 99.7. You like conservative news talk, 1480 KQAM is the place for you. 102.5 La Raza for some Spanish. All on the SC Wichita app, including KGSO. We're streaming on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. Of course, drop your comments at any point or call the show, 522-1410. We're going to get into some comprehensive coverage here in the National Football League. We'll talk Eagles and wrap up the NFC East here in just a moment. But let's get to the phones once again. You are on the Press Box. How are you?
Man, I'm happy to be listening to Wichita's longest-running sports talk show,
Yes, sir.
KGSO, with Jay-Z and Sasha. This
What
is
up,
How are you
Christian?
guys doing?
What's up, Christian? Good to hear from you.
Yeah,
How you been?
it's good to hear from you guys, man. Doing good. Just haven't had the chance to listen to you guys in a while. Just been very busy, but finally got in my car to listen to you guys tonight before I head to KC for the holiday weekend. Hope you guys
sick.
have a good one this weekend as well. But, I just heard you guys talking NBA. This Jaylen Brown trade was absolutely insane. I truly think it was trash, if you ask me. No offense to PG-13, but I wanted to ask you guys, which trade do you think was probably more significant, the Luka AD trade or the PG-13 and Jaylen Brown trade?
I mean, I think people felt like Luka's like a legit perennial MVP candidate in the league, top 5 player, and AD's kind of damaged because I think people felt like the Dallas Mavericks got fleeced maybe even a little bit more than the Celtics did. At least the Celtics got some picks too, and they might be able to flip those for something. The Dallas LA trade was just kind of straight across. And so I think people are very surprised by this Boston-Philly trade, but I don't think it rises to the level of the surprise with the AD Luka trade.
I think maybe surprise you go to AD and Luka, but I think as far as Jaylen Brown and Paul George, where my head is at, the difference is that Anthony Davis, at least when healthy, it was a walking, maybe even still can be a walking and 25, 10, and 2 block guy. Paul George, like he was a cool 15 points per game, but he was definitely a shell of his peak self this past season. And so I would say that's kind of the major difference is that at least when they're healthy, AD is a lot better than Paul George. And I think with Boston here, like Boston's now falling out of contention with this move. The Lakers appear to at least sort of maintain a competitive level when they got Luka at the time.
Yeah, and and correct me if I'm wrong, but Jaylen won the Finals MVP when the Celtics won their championship, right? And so that's one reason why I bring up this question because obviously Boston fans are buck wild about anything sports in Boston. And so, like, to see arguably the greatest, like, not the greatest of all time, but the greatest player right now on the Celtics to be traded, like, I like Jalen a little bit more than Jason Tatum. I hate the Celtics, but I do like Jalen Brown a little bit more than Jason Tatum.
I'll reframe what Jay-Z said a little bit there, though, because it was the Lakers got the good end of the deal, so they should have been competitive. Dallas fell way out of contention after that deal. Boston will not fall as far out of contention as Dallas did after this deal.
Yeah.
And so, those are the two that got the bad side of the deal, so those are the two you would want to compare to each other. But, listen, I don't know if you guys know this. Paul George is the most valuable player in NBA history, though. Listen to this resume. Listen to this resume. I'm just going to tell you. He's been traded for SGA, Jaylen Brown, Domantas Sabonis, Victor Oladipo, Danilo Gallinari, 7 first-round picks, and 4 pick swaps in his career.
That's maybe a team that wins a title.
He's fantastic. Like, no matter what, if you have Paul George, you can flip him into something awesome.
I guess you got a point, Sasha.
Yeah.
I guess you got a point. Hey, well, game recognizes game. So, but hey, you guys keep it up. Have a great holiday weekend, all right?
Hey, thanks, Chris.
For sure.
Appreciate the call.
Love the call, man. Awesome. As always, great to hear from you guys on the phones. Call 522-1410. All right, I think I'm all set up here. Maybe ready to go. We've been moving through our comprehensive coverage series, doing it at 5 o'clock each and every single day, Monday through Friday. It's week 5, 5th division. And since we don't have a live show tomorrow, still a best of, you can listen to our voices, but you can't call the show tomorrow. So maximize your opportunity here on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines, 522-1410, especially if you are a fan of a team in the NFC, especially the East, especially the Birds. I know we got a few, and there was the quote, I think, from Mad Dog years back. He was like, there's no Philadelphia Eagles fans in Wichita, Kansas. Well, I know of a few. All right. The Birds, man. The Birds. And kind of a real quick recap of the week so far. I am not very high on the Giants. I think the Cowboys are going to be mediocre as always. Sasha sort of agrees. We're 2 wins off of the Commanders. I got them at 10. Sasha has them at 8 wins. All right. Philadelphia, guys. Now, they did win the division. That's an important thing to know. They won the division, but kind of in the offseason, after losing in the wild card, while he may be a drama queen, he is a top 10 wide receiver in A.J. Brown. So, a lot of Browns in the news today. Look, the Phillies now, I know they're not moving off of a coach. Sirianni's still in town. I know they're not moving off of Hurts, but it almost kind of feels slightly like a new era is starting with the departure of AJ.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, right? But I think it's a pivotal year for them, right? Because I think Sirianni's far enough removed from the Super Bowl victory now, as Siri goes off because I said Sirianni. He's far enough removed from the Super Bowl victory now that he can get fired, right? If they have the wrong kind of year, he can get fired. And he's been kind of exempt from that for a while, although it was closer than people think, I think, a couple of times. And Jalen Hurts, I think in most scenarios, you would say like he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's won a ton of games in Philly. They're not moving off of him anytime soon. But Philly is a quicker trigger organization than most places. So I wouldn't call it a make or break year for these two guys, but it is a little bit of a prove it year, especially for Sirianni.
Howie Roseman, he just don't play. Look, with Sirianni, has he even had consecutive weeks where the Eagles fan base has not called for his job? I don't know of a coach who's seen the success that he has through a 5-season sample size, where the majority of weeks it seems like this guy's on a hot seat. It's truly incredible. The expectation. These Philly fans are riled up when you take a loss, especially in consecutive weeks. And look, this team's been dominant. They lost to the Super Bowl, 14-win regular season in 2022. They won the Super Bowl off of a 14-win regular season in 2024. 11-win seasons. They then came after each Super Bowl appearance. So just a slight downstep. And I kind of wonder about what's going to happen here moving forward because you got a Mekhi Lemon, you've maybe filled in some pieces, but Brown made up a big portion of that offense, and Saquon took a step back last season.
Yeah, and both of those 11-win seasons in between the Super Bowl appearances kind of came unceremoniously and came with kind of bad first-round exits in the playoffs, right? In 2023, I think the year was, they lost the season of 2023. It would have been in 2024. They lost to Tampa Bay in the first round. Last year, they lost to a really banged-up San Francisco team in the first round. And if memory serves, they were pretty big favorites to beat San Francisco at home. Like, San Francisco wasn't expected to do much. And so it's kind of the way those two seasons finished that I don't think people liked. But either way, any way you slice it, they've won at least 11 games 4 seasons in a row and been to 2 Super Bowls in that time. So it is kind of weird that Sirianni always finds himself coaching for his job.
I bet if you pulled the numbers, you combine regular season and postseason wins, they probably have the most over the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, probably. Especially with the Chiefs only winning 6 last year, that would have been one of their main competitions. Maybe the Bills. I could probably find that out, but yeah, they'd be up there.
So Sirianni, if you had to, say if he was overrated or underrated, he's probably slightly underrated, but we know he doesn't necessarily have a ton of responsibility for the offense or the defense. The coordinators certainly run the show there in Birdtown. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts here, because he might be the most polarizing player that we talk about all season, all offseason, all comprehensive coverage. Because, look, the guy, he's got a Super Bowl under his belt. He's checked that box. But the box he maybe has yet to check is, in our eyes, like our perception of him, are the Eagles winning because of Jalen Hurts, or is Jalen Hurts just a part of the winning, right? Is he the guy in the group project who's making the outline, he's going through, he's kind of assigning tasks, here's what you're going to do, here's what you're going to do, or he's sort of, getting a grade, right? He's out there to get a grade. I think Hurts' numbers have looked good. They look great when you factor in his rushing touchdowns, but at the end of the day, I had to learn this lesson the hard way. A lot of people were telling me, look, Cam Newton's awesome with his rushing touchdowns. If you're a quarterback, we care about the ones in the air. Hurts, I think, needs to take a slight step up, given that he's without A.J. Brown.
He doesn't throw the ball on time, right? There's no rhythm to their offense. And the reality is, like, his 17-game average is 12-5. And that's great. That's the second best I've seen since I started looking at that. But the Eagles are in the conversation as the most talented team in football at every single other position group outside of quarterback. You look at running back, Saquon Barkley. You look at receiver until this year, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You look at defensive line with Carter and that crew on the defensive line. You look at the secondary, it's gotten young, but it's very good. I had their depth chart pulled up, but in the secondary, they drafted 2 corners a couple of years ago, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, that have hit. Zach Bond at linebacker, and their offensive line's really good. Jordan Mailata at tackle and Lane Johnson at the other tackle. So, like, when you look at the depth of talent there, Jalen Hurts just has to steer the ship. He doesn't have to drive it.
And I'm glad you at least left one player for me to mention. That's Reek Witherspoon. Or no, not Witherspoon. He stayed there in Seattle. It's Reek Woolen. My apologies.
Yeah.
Woolen is still solid. And now you pair him with Mitchell and DeJean. That's probably your best secondary, at least in the NFC. I mean, that is legit.
Yeah, and they got a good guy running it all on the defensive side in Vic Fangio. So they have an elite defense. They have, I think, an elite offensive line. Even after Kelce retired, they popped Cam Jurgens in there, and then the skill position players are pretty good too. So it's like, what if Jalen Hurts wasn't winning, we'd know there was a huge problem. The fact that he is winning, it's hard to tell one way or the other.
So, ProFootballReference.com, if you go to like Eagles by season here, they have something, and you see the records, you see their leading passer, you see who the coach was for each season, you see their team accomplishment. It also has something here called AV, approximate value. And essentially that just goes to show who is the most valuable player on the team. Guys, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, it was Zach Bond of the defense. And so he had a great surge kind of to NFL relevance when he showed up there in Philadelphia, because he kind of looked beforehand with New Orleans, guys. He played 4 seasons. He didn't really have the best of numbers. And all of a sudden, like, the amount of combined tackles he had in his entire career through his first 4 seasons, they didn't even add up to what he totaled there in 2024.
Listen, I can tell you that Zach Bond was elite in 2024. I was doing the field vision stuff in 2024, and we had a defensive player metric called Havoc, which took everything that defensive players did and ranked them by position within their own position group. And we did Havoc teams of the week, and I wrote those articles every week. And Zach Bond was first or second team linebacker on the Havoc team damn near every week. Like, that's how good he was. He was dominating in 2024. And so that didn't surprise me at all when you said that. And that's kind of the thing with those off-ball linebackers too, though, is sometimes change of scenery. They just get way better than they were in the last place. We mentioned that with some other teams earlier in the comprehensive coverage. And Zach Bond's been a great player since he's been on the Eagles.
First team All-Pro in 2024. He just made a Pro Bowl in 2025. I think it's maybe safe to say he's not going to replicate what he did at age 28. At age 30, should be still pretty decent. All right, yeah, I think this line with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, I think we've yet to see, honestly, their ceiling. I know Jordan Davis had like a kick block 6, which was a legendary moment last season. These two are a nightmare up front at nose tackle and defensive tackle. My goodness. Mekhi Lemon, what role do you think Mekhi Lemon has aside of Devontae Smith?
Yeah, I mean, they're hoping a big one, right? Because they picked up Dontavian Wicks, and he'll probably play outside. Lemon will be able to play his more natural position, which is a lot in the slot, although Smith will move in there sometimes too. Right. Those 3 guys will be versatile with each other, which is good, and I don't think Lemon's going to like set the world on fire as a rookie, but he's good enough between him and Wicks to be complementary to Devontae Smith as the number 1, and that was a clear pick in anticipation that they're going to be trading A.J. Brown. And by the way, I think there's a world where the Patriots aren't as good as people think this year, and that could end up being a pretty good pick for the Eagles next year as well.
Hollywood Brown is on the roster. I'll go over-under, a question for you. Games played.
Oh, what's the number?
12 and a half. 12 and a half games played for Hollywood.
I'll go under. I'll go 12.
Tough.
Yeah.
He had like the weird shoulder injury a few years back with the Chiefs.
He hurt himself in the preseason, the first year they signed him, so we never really saw him the first season, and then so they signed him for another one because it's like we didn't see what we had, and it wasn't all that great in the second season either. So, I'm glad the Chiefs moved on from that and got younger and give some other guys an opportunity.
Last thing roster-wise, I think running back is no longer Saquon or bust. Tank Bigsby is pretty decent to have as a backup running back, and I think you can get back to the success on the ground as a team you had a season and a half ago, but you can't give Saquon Barkley 300 carries.
It'll be interesting with Tank because they traded for him right before the season last year, and so he didn't really work his way into the clear-cut number 2 that had a role and was obviously going to have the big role if Barkley got hurt and all of that. They were still using Shipley some. Dameon Pierce at one point in this league was the number 1 running back for the Houston Texans, and he's their 4th string. So they're pretty deep at running back. You still want Saquon carrying the load, but they have some options there to kind of take the load off of him as he ages as well.
Yeah, how about the names here on the depth chart? I'm seeing Elijah Mitchell, Dameon Pierce, like you mentioned. They even have a Carson Steele at the fullback spot. I'm seeing here on OurLads.com.
Oh, yeah, I'm just looking at the ESPN depth chart, and I didn't see those. I'm just seeing the top 4, but there's probably more out there right now with camp going on, and who knows how the actual roster will shake out.
All right. Schedule time. Last season, you had a nice start. You were 4-0. You were even 8-2 after a nice low-scoring win over Detroit. You held Green Bay to 7 points. The defense was looking top tier. And then the offense started to struggle, and you lost 3 straight, weeks 12 through 14. That really stole the momentum. And then losing a kind of a regular season finale. I mean, you didn't necessarily have to play and win. You kind of had the division wrapped up. But then you go into the wild card, and like you said, you lost to a team that, I mean, had a ton of injuries in the San Francisco 49ers, which they're used to. And Philadelphia just wasn't able to flex their muscles. So as we move from last season to 2026, you got a first-place schedule. And honestly, I'm not seeing it. It's that tough. You got Washington right out of the gate. You got Tennessee and Chicago on the road. Then you're home for 4 straight, 3 of which I think are going to be real solid teams. In LA, Dallas, Jacksonville, or Carolina is probably solid, one of those 2. You sort of move through, and, well, the closing stretch, you've got Seattle, Houston, and San Francisco weeks 15 through 17. This is kind of tough for the Birds.
Yeah, like I love the beginning, right? Home against Washington and at Tennessee. Right. It's a good chance to go 2-0, but Chicago, Los Angeles, Jacksonville all won their division. Well, Los Angeles didn't win their division, but close. We know what they are. They were close. Carolina won their division. So I think that they have a leg up on the other NFC East teams, but outside of those games with the first place schedule, it's going to be tough, right? You're playing the whole NFC West. You've got Indy in there, so the whole AFC South, which is that's not a terrible draw. But then your one-off games are, is it Pittsburgh? Yeah, Pittsburgh did win the AFC North, so that's not a bad draw for a first-place game to get Pittsburgh. But yeah, if the Eagles play up to their potential, they can win a lot of games against this schedule. I decided not to do the win-loss thing with the Eagles and look at the whole schedule. It's more about how they play than what everybody does against them. I think I'm going to say they win less than what they're expected to, but still win the division. I'm going to say they win 10 games. I'm going to say it's kind of like a rough, like where they're winning some games, but you don't think they're looking very good. So 10 or 11, right in that range, but I'll say 10 for the purposes of this. So I got the whole division within 2 games of each other.
Kind of like the NFC South. Man. I'm looking around here at how I have this division. And I may need to scrap a few more wins for somebody. As it sits, I'm a little worried about the Eagles because I wonder if, like, in the minds of these players in the locker room, that they can do it. Like, what if A.J. Brown is actually right? Like, yes, he was a diva. Yes, he was a drama queen. He went above and beyond reading the book on the bench. But kind of his main point was that Jalen Hurts isn't, like, leading and taking over this squad. And some people are maybe saying that Hurts is more of a diva than you would think. Look, I'm gonna say the Eagles. Not a fall from grace, but they're gonna have their worst season since 2021. I'm gonna say they're in the wild card picture. 10-7 does seem right. 10-7 does seem right. I think their defense, honestly, like I offensively, this team seems due for a fall off, especially with Saquon getting up there, inconsistencies with Hurts. But as we're looking at that front line, as we're looking at that back 4, I think they're at least going to go above 500. And so I'll say I have the Commanders also winning 10. And you've got the Eagles as well as I do. We'll finally agree on a record with 10-7.
I'll tell you this, Jay-Z, with these NFC East record predictions that you and I are putting out, we're never going to get into the national media. If you're not selling the NFC East in the national media, they don't want you around there. We might have to work on that if our goals are to work our way up into the national media.
By selling, you're saying we needed to pick the Eagles to win 12.
All of them to win 12.
The Cowboys to
all
win
of them to win 12.
The Eagles to do what they did. I mean, the Commanders, same thing. And
that's what the national media does. They'll all go 9-8, and they'll have us convinced it's still the best division in football. That's what happens out there in the streets.
It's the most popular division. We got to give them that. And if the Giants are anything, oh man, like the Giants are used to having 9 wins and still plenty of hype to go on a Super Bowl run. So if they're at 7 or 8, the fans are gonna be like, man, we're one step away from a Super Bowl. Man,
one step away. Hey, I got
You're
good
right.
news for you, Jacob. Before we get out of this segment, it's okay to go a little long. We got time. I do have the over the last 4 years, the top 4 teams in number of wins in the regular season and playoffs. I've got that in front of me.
over the last 4 seasons.
Over the last 4 seasons.
Can I take a
take a
guess?
guess at the order, the 4 and the order, and I'll give you.
I'll give you.
I'm starting with regular season and playoff combined. It's the same 4 teams with just regular season, but in a different order.
I'm guessing the order here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Eagles, Buffalo. The next 2 are tough. I'm going to see the Chiefs are 3rd. I need a 4th. I'll go Baltimore.
No, not quite. You had the first 3, although wrong order for including playoffs. Including playoffs, it goes Chiefs 55 because they have 9 playoff wins, and the next closest is 5, so that got them over the top. Eagles 54, Bills 54, Detroit Lions 48. If you take the playoffs out, it goes Eagles 50, Bills 49, Chiefs 46, Lions 45.
Okay, so I had the top 3.
You had the top 3 for regular season only. Yes.
Yeah, it gets tough in the NFC because I'm like, the Niners have been there, but they've been hurt. Seattle just won the Super Bowl, but they weren't good before that.
The Ravens have been on kind of an every other pattern. Maybe that's why they have the highest win total in the NFL this year by Vegas, because they were bad last year. Who knows?
That's tough. The Lions in 2024 were my favorite team to watch that wasn't like my squad.
Oh, yeah, they've been fun.
I want them to still be entertaining. Post Ben Johnson as well. Let's get another good season out of them. We'll be back.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
The road to the football season starts at Big 12 Media Days, July 7th and 8th. Join KGSO live from the Star in Texas for coach and player interviews as the excitement builds for what promises to be a thrilling season for both KU and K-State. Get extensive coverage on Wichita's #1 sports talk, KGSO, during the game plan and press box, bringing you the latest news and insights straight from Big 12 Media Days. Coverage is proudly sponsored by Moneytown Pawn, Jewelry Savers, B&C Barbecue, and Mr. B's Donuts.
Coins and bullion, Kansas's premier bullion dealer.
If you want to add gold and silver bullion to your portfolio, there's no better place to go. Make sure to check out Phil's Coins online at philscoins.com, and with the largest variety of items, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Phil's Coins and Bullion, 9344 West Central Avenue. Go check them out today.
Phil's Coins and Bullion, philscoins.com.
KGSO Studio presented by Seven Clans Casino, Hotel and Resort. It pays to cross the line. Wichita's home for Aftershocks basketball. This is KGSO.
So, but I guess you changed her mind. Well, I should have known it wouldn't be alright, but I can't live without her, so I won't even try. If I get drunk, well, I'll pass out on the floor now, baby. You won't bother me no more. If you're drinking, well,
Oh, as the song indicates, beer. Maybe you've already had one. Look, it's 5:29 here local time. Maybe you're off work for the rest of the week. Look, just don't go through everything that's in the fridge before you get to Saturday. Otherwise, you're going to get some concerned looks from family members, and you're just not going to have anything left. You're going to have to go back to the store, and it's all going to be gone because the next guy is going to have the same problem, and he's going to beat you there to Walmart, wherever you go. So, Sasha, quick break, but we're back. We'll probably continue on here with a little bit more NFL chatter. We usually talk with Paul Suellentrop, senior communicator from Wichita State, around this time. But, hey, given the holiday, we're giving Paul a week off. We can forgive him. I know we've had some shocker news this week, but we'll hold it off to next week and talk about it with Mr. Suellentrop then. Sasha, I was looking at my email. I won't bore you with this for too long, but I had sent out a request to get some media access. And look, hopefully they don't pull my credentials somehow, but as of now, I've been approved to go watch the fight night, get some access to
When
the
is it?
event in OKC. You got the fight night here. It's Dricus Du Plessis, who was the middleweight champion. You got Kamaru Usman, who was the welterweight champion for a long time, a couple years back. And they are fighting in a middleweight, I'll call it a number one contenders fight, main event in a fight night down in Oklahoma City on July 18th. This is the week after Conor McGregor's return.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing. I'm really happy for you. I'm proud. Is it in the Thunder's arena? Is it
the
a big
Paycom
one?
Center?
Is it the Paycom Center?
Yes.
Nice.
It's in the Paycom Center. So,
nice.
so
Do you have to
good
do any
vibes.
interviews or anything? Like what are they going to require
I don't know.
you to do?
I would love
for
to.
that media access. Do you get to go to the press conferences?
I hope I get to. I hope I'm not over Zoom. You know, last year there was the Deontay Wilder fight here in Wichita, and I was not able to make it to the actual press conference because we made it to the event. We had a blast watching. But with the Wilder press conference, it started like right after our show got done. So I was at home. I raced home, and I pulled up the stream. And all I knew was I was in a Zoom call, and it was very poorly set up. And all of a sudden, I just see, like I had a question. I said, yeah, I had a question. And all of a sudden, I see in chat, it's like, hey, it's your turn. Just go. And they had it set up to where I couldn't hear the audio. But I was watching back this stream, and so the stream had a little bit of the delay. And I hear on the stream, okay, we're going to go to someone on Zoom. I see in the chat, hey, go ahead and ask your question. So I turn on my mic and I ask the question. But what happened was this was very poorly set up. And, of course, I'm not waiting for like a text message to see, oh, it's your time to chat. But I just go ahead and do it because I see it. And what ended up happening was my voice came on when the next person had asked the question. They were like, all right, we're going to go to someone on Zoom. After 10 seconds, I didn't say anything because I was behind. They didn't have the audio synced up. And then my question proceeded to interrupt whoever was answering the next question. So let's hope for a little bit more fluidity and unawkwardness this time.
Yeah, I hope that goes better for you next time. That sounds like a pretty devastating scenario
Set
for
up
you.
to fail.
Also, that was so interesting that I started reading the rules of soccer while you were saying that. So, no.
Oh,
that
man.
was a low blow. Was a low blow, but I just had these rules of soccer up in front of me, and I thought, this could be fun.
You would rather reach up, learn the rule book of a sport that ties 0-0 than hear me tell a personal story. All right, I'll remember that one. Okay, 522-1410 on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. We kind of hit on a lot of Eagles players there in comprehensive coverage. I think a lot of them are X factors. I'll say this. I think Saquon Barkley, even though he's a superstar, he is an X factor. Because what do we know about the running back position? You get a little old. You get up there in age. And maybe this guy's a future Hall of Famer. But he had a 2,000-yard season in 2024. That was nearly cut in half in the same games played this past season. Touchdowns as well. Took a major hit from 13 to 7. Saquon, I don't want to see you continue to follow this slide. You gotta bounce back next year and have better numbers.
I'll go for an X factor. I'll go Dontavian Wicks. We talked about him briefly, but he's a talented player who was just kind of in like a big cesspool of receivers in Green Bay. Like none of them were great. But they were all good enough that they all wanted time on the field. And then if one was injured, then maybe you got your opportunity. I think he's got a clear-cut path to a lot of playing time here in Philly this year, and he has a chance to put up some good numbers. So I'll go Dontavion Wicks.
All right, let's sort of assign some roles here, because usually we would do this on Friday. We can try to go a little bit quicker this time around. But we'll cue the music back up. Most polarizing team. Oh, man. And you got some good ones to choose from. This is like the most polarizing division, the NFC East, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't think the Commanders are that polarizing, even though you and I are sort of decently far off on record predictions. Not necessarily. I think the polarizing thing with the Commanders is just the name of their franchise. Once you get to the X's and O's, the defense sucks. Jalen Daniels, you either think he's good or he's not. Okay. I think the Giants are a little polarizing because of Harbaugh. I think the Eagles routinely are. But you know what my answer was going to be, man. It's the Dallas Cowboys as the most polarizing team in the NFC East division because, guys, let's face it, they have this label they don't deserve anymore. They haven't deserved it for 2 decades. Guys, America's team, look, this was back in the 90s where the premier athlete, the premier team, you just celebrated them, right? You just celebrated, the Cowboys are the main team, the main storyline. All right, we're going to go hand in hand and root on for them, root on the star. Yeah. Guys, it works differently in social media era, especially if you can't win games. Come on.
I think you're right. Dallas is very polarizing. A lot of people, they have a lot of fans, but most people who aren't fans of Dallas root against them. I will say, like, part of polarization is having some success and having people hate you. A lot of people hate the Eagles, right? Like, I do think Dallas is the right answer, but, like, if we were doing this league-wide, the Eagles would probably be, like, top 5 most polarizing teams. They just happen to be in a division with Dallas, and the Eagles have had enough success to be hated, too. Like, it's not like just hating them because they're the Eagles. You're hating the success they have. You hate that they win a Super Bowl. So they're a close second in this conversation for sure.
Okay, we'll get to best non-quarterback.
Best non-QBs, yeah.
There's a lot to choose from, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is deep. You could go with the defensive players here on Philadelphia, maybe like Jalen Carter. Maybe you really like Zach Bond or Cooper DeJean. I think if you think they're out of the Cowboys, you got to choose one of those receivers on the outside. CeeDee Lamb, probably the best non-quarterback on the roster. The Commanders is really tough. I think the Giants, with Brian Burns, at least a consideration here. I will say, and this is going to be kind of adjusting for maybe an off-season of development. Maybe this guy's going off of a little bit of name value, potentially. Guys, I think Jalen Carter's really good. I think he's really good. He only played 11 games last season. I'll start with him.
Yeah, if you want to look at that same position grouping, right, the defensive tackles, like the Cowboys acquired Quinnen Williams last year in a trade, and he's been an elite interior player in the league for quite some time. You go to the edges, there's actually a lot going on with the Giants, right? Brian Burns has been a really good edge in this league over the course of time. You go to off-ball linebackers, you've got Zach Bond, you've got Demarion Overshown shown in Dallas. When he's been healthy, he's been a really good player for them. And then you look in the secondary, I think it starts and ends with the Eagles and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean gets a lot of run just because, let's face it, he looks different than a lot of defensive backs in this league. But also, he was first team All-Pro last year. He won the slot cornerback first team All-Pro, the nickel corner first team All-Pro. So he's a really good player as well, not just from that. Then if we want to swing over to the offensive side, I think it's pretty clear cut that the Eagles and have the best running back in the league, or not in the league, in the division, in Saquon Barkley. On On the receiver side, CeeDee Lamb is probably my favorite wide receiver in the NFC East. And then Lane Johnson's a really good offensive lineman if you're looking for an offensive lineman, right tackle for the Eagles.
He's still kicking it, man.
He's still kicking it. He's still playing.
Wow, talk about longevity. Something to learn from. That defense, that line, pretty good. Lane Johnson. You got Mailata as well. Juergens, pretty good replacement.
Guy we didn't even mention, Malik Neighbors coming back from injury, right? He could spike back up. It's a fantasy players division, right? There's a lot of options. Terry McLaurin's still there in Washington. I think he's a step down from guys like CD and Malik. And then obviously Devontae Smith in Philadelphia.
All right.
Who's the best tight end in the NFC East? Just real quick. You've got Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys.
No.
You've got Dallas Goedert for the Eagles.
Maybe.
And really nothing to write home about on either of the other teams.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah. I guess it's Jake Ferguson.
Okay. Order. I sort of projected the Commanders and the Eagles to both win 10. Look, man, you got to get some NFC East drama out of me. I got the Commanders winning the division. Hot takes.
I got the Eagles. Winning the division. And I did forget, the Giants signed the guy from, just since I was talking about tight ends, the Giants signed Isaiah Likely this offseason. So maybe
it's got to be him.
Maybe it's him.
Yeah.
I got the Eagles winning it. I'll go Eagles, and the other three I'm really close on. So I'll put them in an order because that's what we do here. But just for fun, because I had all their records really similar, I'll go Giants, Commanders, Cowboys. I'll go Cowboys last. But I don't want to change the records I had. I'm just going to say.
But if you're not changing the records,
all right,
Cowboys.
Forget it. We'll go Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders.
I feel like if you're going to pick the Cowboys.
I had them all at 8-9 or 9-8. So what's the difference? It's a game here and there. I wanted to pick the Cowboys to get last. Okay.
Well, Sasha, one game decides the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. So it's a pretty big, Yeah. A lot of people are going to pick the Commanders to lose, to finish fourth and final in this division, and that's okay. I'm just going to trust in rookie Jaden Daniels coming out in this defense, holding on by a thread. There's a world where Daniels absolutely lights it up. This could go back to be, in hindsight, we look at this in January, and I'm embarrassed. But something to me doesn't feel right about the Eagles. I'm going to stick with the Giants finishing last in this division, whether you like it or not. 522-1410 as always. Look, 2 segments in the NFL back-to-back.
It's one of the more tightly grouped divisions on the sport books. The Eagles are the favorite, but fourth place, and the Giants are only plus 600. There's some divisions where that's in the thousands. So,
where else are you going to stay as informed day by day with the NFL than the second hour of the press box?
Yeah, you just by the time the season starts, you'll know everything you want to know about every division, and then it'll be time for training camps, and we'll start giving you the daily news.
Nothing better. Can't beat it. All right, we'll be back. Last segment of the show. Could be a controversial one. We'll be back.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
The road to the football season starts at Big 12 Media Days, July 7th and 8th. Join KGSO live from the Star in Texas for coach and player interviews as the excitement builds for what promises to be a thrilling season for both KU and K-State. Get extensive coverage on Wichita's #1 sports talk, KGSO, during the game plan and press box, bringing you the latest news and insights straight from Big 12 Media Days. Coverage is proudly sponsored by Moneytown Pawn, Jewelry Savers, BNC Barbecue, and Mr. B's Donuts.
America is turning 250, and we're celebrating all month long at Midwest Kia. Join us for our Stars, Stripes, and Savings Sales event, where we're honoring America's 250th birthday with incredible savings throughout July. Celebrate extra savings on every new Kia that's built right here in America, including the award-winning Sportage, Sorento, Telluride, hybrid models, and the electrified EV6 and EV9 models. And no birthday party is complete without a present. This July, purchase any new or pre-owned vehicle and get a $250 gas gift card. It's our way of helping you enjoy the summer road ahead. Plus, every new Kia comes with that unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. And don't forget about our summer sticker sales event. Get $750 off select new Kias. Visit MidwestKia.com. And remember,
We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia.
see dealer for details. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
This is The Herd.
You got to be consistent.
With Colin Cowherd.
Mike check. James Dolan is not for bringing the band back together next year. I agree with Dolan. He doesn't want to get caught up in what they call the second apron. Folks, the Celtics and the Thunder over the last couple years won a title, brought everybody back, and didn't reach the finals again.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays at 11 a.m. right here on KGSO and on the SC Wichita app.
Hailstorms can cause widespread damage to one's home. After these storms, dishonest contractors show up, hoping to make a quick buck from your insurance claim. They'll promise anything if they can get you to sign a contract, collect your payment in advance, and ultimately do no work at all. Avoid being the victim of contractor fraud. Get estimates from at least 3 contractors. Check references, and remember, if you didn't request it, reject it.
To report fraud, call us at 1-800-TEL-NICB. This is a public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
We're as American as baseball and apple pie. 20 years of sports talk and 250 years of America. This is KGSO.
Desperate and broken.
Just when you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.
You know, Zasha, there was a certain piece of paper here in our studio that kind of got blown behind the desk. I don't even know how we recovered it. We had a lot of fans here in our office building over the last couple of weeks, and well, I'll tell you this, guys. This sheet is important because it highlights the specials, which I had down to a memory. Miss no beats, but the specials at, of course,
Taco Tico, it's all about the taste.
back in front of me. The 10-pack Zilla tacos for $10.99. 3 for $49 is the deal with the limited wonton tacos. Still going strong for the next 2 weeks at Taco Tico, 13th and Tyler, 35th and Rock Road, Arc City, Newton, El Dorado, Derby, and Augusta, where it's all about the what?
It's all about the taste, Jacob. Yeah, exciting stuff.
TBT tickets, we gave out a total of 4 of them in yesterday's show. Maybe Doug gave away some this morning. We told him to. Perhaps he didn't. But stay tuned again here as the days move along as we get closer and closer to the start of the TBT. Looking to repeat, that's the goal of the Aftershocks as the prize money has doubled from $1 million to $2 million. TBTHoops.com for tickets if you want to buy them. And stay tuned for giveaways here on this station. All right, we'll go rapid fire here over the next 7 minutes and some change about a few different topics in the sports world. I'm going to start with one that is, it technically is somehow, some way, local news, because there's a certain player on the Kansas City Chiefs, and you may have heard about this guy. He plays that spot on the end of the line. He goes out and blocks sometimes. Sometimes he runs and catches. And then, oh, yeah, he's dating Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce's getting married with Taylor Swift.
He ain't dating nobody.
Tomorrow,
he's engaged to her. He's about to be her husband.
At Madison Square Garden, Sasha, is this a little too much? Is this a little too much?
Wait, they're getting married in Madison Square Garden?
I guess so.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a big old venue. Dude,
it's a great venue.
I mean, how much did that cost to rent out?
I don't know, like what they're gonna do with the 18,000 seats in it, but it's a great venue.
If you're Travis's folks, are you thinking like, hey Tay, why don't you just pay for the whole thing?
I think Taylor's probably just going ahead and paying for it. Travis's folks are not renting out Madison Square Garden. Taylor and Travis will be taking care of their own arrangements on this one.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
How many pages is the prenup? That's what I'm wondering.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this curse or help the Chiefs? We'll go with curse. How much does this curse the Chiefs season on a scale of 1 to 10? This marriage at
Negative
MSG?
1. Negative 1. That like this
With
is
the
like,
boost?
This is an absolute boon for the Chiefs season. The Knicks just won a championship, and they're using their building. Like Taylor Swift is a good luck charm. Everybody knows that.
Oh, look, I know Taylor Swift. You just hold on. Let me get this straight. You're gonna go to the building where you switch sides technically away from your husband's team, soon to be, and now you're gonna go back to that same building where you celebrated the championship of the team that Travis probably hates by now. It doesn't necessarily add up to me. Anyway,
Did I tell you I'm going to New York tomorrow?
Are you really? No,
yeah,
you're not.
I am invited to the wedding, so I'm excited about it.
Okay. All right. Next topic here. Apparently, Joey Chestnut. I saw a video of him doing these exercises for his mouth. He's like strengthening his mouth and his neck, his jaw, his mandible, whatever you call it, dude, to chow down on them hot dogs. Did you like that? You like my sound effect? It was great.
How many hamburgers do you think that Joey Chestnut could eat in 10 minutes?
I don't
What's
know.
the ratio of hot dogs and hamburgers? And like, if you can eat 70 hot dogs, what does that equal in hamburgers? And why doesn't he eat both?
Here's a guy I think I can maybe out-eat. Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith. Now, sometimes Stephen A. Smith will call him Stephen Naismith. And every once in a while, this guy says something so preposterous, we bring it up here in the last 3 minutes of the show. But guys, this is not something I'm offended by, because I grew up as a basketball player in Raleigh, North Carolina, playing AU basketball as the only white kid on the team. And we got Stephen A. making fun of the Lakers, right? Saying, oh, you got Walker Kessler, you got Austin Reeves, you got Luka Doncic. You got 3 white dudes. You're never going to win anything with 3 white dudes. And it's like, hold on, Stephen A. This is going to cross the line a little bit. I know it's been a joke, and we haven't really cared this whole time. But first of all, if you want to go back in history, you got the 86 Celtics, who were, my goodness, they were very good. And they had 3 very key rotation pieces, kind of stars, who were all, Caucasian. And it's crazy if Emmanuel Acho, of all dudes, has to be the one to check you online, Stephen A. And he kind of had the approach. I think it was a fair comparison, saying, hey, look, Stephen A., if back 20 years ago you had analysts who were legitimately coming out with articles saying, look, if you're drafting a black quarterback, he's not smart enough. This is kind of up that alley a little bit, Stephen A. So it's not offensive to me, but some people were bothered by it.
Yes, listen, he's stepping a little close to the line, right? Everybody kind of knows the stereotypes and what the kind of history of. There's no secret that there's been more good black players in the NBA than white players, right? Yeah. We've seen it over the years, but it's an interesting thing for him to point out, right? They're 3 good basketball players. The Lakers are they all happen to be white. it shouldn't really matter.
You got an influx of European talent. It's going to
And
even out a little bit.
That's changed the league a lot too, right? With guys like Jokic and Doncic and
the itches. Yeah, itch my back. We got.
I got one. Unless you
What's
up? We haven't really revisited this all week, but they're still rolling out the NFL top 100 players little by little every single day, and we got our second quarterback today that's been listed so far. Bryce Young was the first at like 98 or 7 or something.
Give me the conference.
NFC.
Is it Baker?
Number 85. It's not Baker. It's our second quarterback on the list. He was not ranked last year.
Oh.
But he's obviously just ahead of Bryce Young and behind everyone else who's still to come.
Oh, dude. It can't be Sam Darnold that low, right?
No, it's not Sam Darnold. You're in the right division, though.
Why am I drawing a blank? Brock Purdy.
It's Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy coming in at number 85 in the NFL's top 100 quarterback list this year. I think some people probably think that's a little low. Some people might think it's high. Speaking of polarizing, Brock Purdy's a little polarizing as well.
I remember 2 years ago doing this show. Brock Purdy, even just all shows. Brock Purdy was the most polarizing.
Oh, me and Felix argued about him every Monday for like 20 straight weeks.
The NBA is thinking of some rule changes. One is really dumb with a free throw. They're thinking, if he's shooting 2, just have him shoot 1 free throw worth 2. They've been doing that in the G League for some years. Let's not do that. And then they're thinking of putting a sensor in the basketball. The conspiracy theorists, like myself, will never be at rest.
Why not just put a magnet in there while you're at it and attract it to the net?
Maybe it looks like one of Justin Tucker's field goal kicks from a few years back. All right, that's going to do it here with the Press Box. Have a good night.
The road to the football season starts at Big 12 Media Days, July 7th.